Welcome everybody to my new YouTube channel, Radical Cartoons. And the very first thing I would like to show you is my Christmas card, or should I say winter solstice card, and my Happy New Year card. Some of you who are watching, my old friends and my new friends, might already have seen these. I just wanted to put them up on this channel and have a very quick little commentary on these two pictures. So the winter solstice card shows a henge. We have got a lot of standing stones in stone circles in the British Isles, and a henge. Henge always seems to me a very masculine thing. In that men would have organised the building of it. Men would have organised the feasting and the maybe sacrificing and all that went on around it. We think of Stonehenge, for example. Could have been enormous feasts for people from hundreds of miles away. And it's a very masculine sort of atmosphere, isn't it? My card showed a henge in winter being subverted by you see the little creature that's coming out the top there. This is a Sheela Na Gig, and Sheela Na Gigs are basically the fertility symbol of the British Isles. There are about 120 known to us. Could be a lot more hidden away that haven't been found yet, or even buried. There's a long history about them. You can Google it. I'm going to try and put the website, which is sheelanagig.org, the Sheela Na Gig project, under this video, where you can find out lots more about them. What they are is carvings. In the past, they might have been wooden statues or paintings on wood, even, of an old woman or an elderly woman showing sort of almost like a skeleton head. The ribs are showing, so the top half of the body looks old and starved, and the lower half of the body is showing our womanly bits very prominently. So they were fertility idols. They were also perhaps seen as being between life and death. So life, showing the birth canal, and the upper body looking almost like a skeleton. All very interesting, and if you go on that website, you'll be able to put in your postcode and find out where the nearest one to you is, and maybe go and visit it. Right, so the second picture is my Happy New Year card. Happy New Year from Turf Island. Some people will know what that means. I'm not going to go too much into that. But what this is showing, it's showing the British Isles foreshortened, with London in the foreground. Sorry if everybody thinks that's London-centric, but Reformers Tree in Hyde Park, where we've been having feminist meetups now, under the leadership of Kelly J. Keane, it is becoming a focal point for radical feminists in Britain and other people who are supporting the fight back for women's rights. So it's showing Reformers Tree as a sort of a New Year's Eve sort of a firework, and around it and above it you can see three flames in the suffragette colours. So we've got Wales, Ireland and Scotland. Sorry, Scotland, if it looks a bit, you're squeezed up to the top there in the outer darkness, but Scotland is a bit like the outer darkness just at the moment, isn't it? So really, this is that's all it is to it. Hope you like these two pictures, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of my cartooning and my illustration on this channel in the weeks to come. Thanks for watching. Hi everybody, and welcome to my new YouTube channel. I welcome my old friends who I hope are watching, and all my lovely new friends who I've made in the last couple of years since my cancellation, which some of you may know about, some of you may not, and I'm hoping that in the course of a few videos on this channel you will find out more and understand where I'm coming from as an artist. This channel is, I'm creating this channel as an outlet for my cartooning, mainly because I haven't got one. Being cancelled, being publicly cancelled, means that outlets are very, very nervous of using you. And before the pandemic, I used to have one-woman shows in my hometown of Bristol, England. And of course the pandemic put a stop to all that. So in many ways this YouTube channel is so that I've got an outlet. it's going to motivate me to do new political cartoons. I'm one of these people that I read the news, and I suppose rather than just fuming about what's on the news, my reaction is, oh, where can I see the funny side of that? And do a cartoon of it, and that's how I operate as a cartoonist. It's just literally maybe one story one day, another story next week. That's how it works. So I'm hoping you're going to find this channel interesting. The very first thing we're uploading is an interview I did shortly before Christmas with journalist Sonia Poulton on her BNT channel. Hope you're going to enjoy it. It encapsulates, I think, my feelings about art, my feelings about how cartooning in particular can be offensive to some people, but why is it offensive? Anyway, we talk quite a lot about it in this interview. I hope you're going to enjoy it. And just want to say at the end, thank you to my friend Jen, who's my producer on this video. Without her technical knowledge, I wouldn't even be getting this far with it. So thank you.
Hello, Stella. Good morning.
Hello, Sonia. Can you hear me all right?
I can. I apologise for coming to you late, Stella. So let's crack straight on. Stella, as I say, is a political cartoonist who was herself cancelled. Why were you cancelled, Stella?
Oh, yes. Just to remind your viewers, I was the political cartoonist of the Morning Star newspaper, which is a hard left newspaper in the UK. And I was with them for 5 years, unpaid, as most of their staff are actually. And I did this one cartoon, which happened to be about the Gender Recognition Act 2004, when it was in the news, because people were campaigning to reform it. And so I did a cartoon about it, which was about women's safe spaces. In fact, the cartoon is up on my banner behind me there, which you might be able to zoom in on, people at home, and you can see the cartoon.
Yeah, it's about transitioning a newt, isn't it?
Yes, it's about women's safe spaces and the idea that predatory men would take advantage of being able to go in, which we've seen all over the world that this has actually happened since then. So it was more of it was a journalistic comment on what was likely to happen. And of course, it was taken as, oh, you can't even draw a cartoon about this subject. But the consolation to that is that I'm still here. I'm still drawing cartoons for for websites. I'm still a women's rights activist. I haven't been shot down in my own office like the Charlie Hebdo cartoonists. So we actually, at least we live in a free country, and we can, when this happens to us, we can find support and we can reach out. And that is what you've asked me to come back and talk to about this week, which is about cancel culture.
It is cancel culture. And the thing is that barely a week goes by when we don't hear about somebody being cancelled, right? So, I mean, did Rosie Kay cancel herself? She said, I resigned from my own dance company after I was accused of transphobia. What's that about?
Yeah, can I put this in some kind of context before we talk about Rosie? Because in the last 2 weeks since I was last here, there's been a couple of incidents in the news, which we want to mention. Rosie Kay is one of them. I just want to hold up this picture, which is the film poster of a film from 1981. Sorry, let me go on that side.
Yeah,
and it's
got
called
it.
Mephisto. So it's a Hungarian-German film. You can get it on Netflix, probably. You can probably buy it through, Microsoft Store or any other service. And it's German subtitled film, English subtitles, stars Klaus Maria Brandauer. This was about, it's fictional, but it's based on real things that happened during the Nazi period, where artists, whoever they might be, were co-opted to do propaganda for the Nazi regime. If they didn't want to do it, well, they ended up in concentration camps with everybody else, Of course, we did kind of do that kind of thing as well. Some of our great writers and artists worked for the government in World War II.
Absolutely, they were propagandists.
And the famous one is J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote propaganda for the War Department, and so did lots of other writers and artists. We didn't chuck our non-conformist writers and artists in concentration camps if they didn't want to work for the government. That's the only difference, right? So the reason I brought that up is because I do strongly feel, as an artist, as a political cartoonist, in the atmosphere, the society we're in at the moment, that we are heading towards that kind of society where if you don't conform, if you don't parrot the sort of what the state, or in this case, what the bad actors in all our institutions want you to say, you're persona non grata. And this is what's happening with these individual artists and writers and people like J.K. Rowling, who get kind of picked off one by one and then have to defend themselves one by one.
Right.
As individuals, like I did. And I would say, thank goodness we've got the Free Speech Union. I'm bigging up the Free Speech Union. Anybody who's had this kind of problem, go to them. They will give you legal help. Okay.
Right. And I should say, We Are Fair Cop have been absolutely brilliant on this as well. They supported you as well, didn't they, when you went through?
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah. We do have some support networks now, which a couple of years ago we didn't have.
Absolutely.
So I urge anybody to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Art, for those of you who think, well, I can't be bothered to go to an art gallery, or it's all too expensive for me, or I've never watched ballet, or I'm not interested in art really, or I have nobody in my family who's interested in art. What I would say to you is think of other people's children. Think of other people who've got children going through college and university and things like this, and who want to be artists of some kind. And this is fundamental to human beings. Art is the original endeavor that we as well as building shelter, making fire, learning to cook, art was our original endeavor, art and storytelling. Okay, so when you have a little child and you put a pencil in their hands and a piece of paper, and they've never been taught to draw, what's the first thing they draw? They draw people, they draw stick figures of themselves and their family. They draw shelter, they draw a box which is meant to be their house, their home. They draw the sun, and they draw flowers, and they might draw a cat and a dog, because so they draw the fundamental things that human beings recognize in the world around us. So the sun that gives life, the plants, the animals, the people that surround them, and their shelter. That's the very first picture that all children draw.
And I'm still drawing that. I'm still drawing stick figures. Some of us don't progress beyond that, Stella, I should say.
Well, I was just going to say, even if they never go on to do any kind of art ever again, that is the first picture they draw. So it is hardwired into it.
Yes.
Okay, art is hardwired into it.
Yes.
So even if you're not particularly interested and you never go to art galleries, you think this is all too expensive and I'm not interested, I would say think of the young people coming through art schools or coming through school who want to use art to express themselves. And they look around and they see on the news very famous artists and writers and people like Rosie Kay, who have risen to the top of their field by their own endeavours.
Yes.
And then they're being shot down by this cancel culture because of one of the isms that they have, like they've transgressed against one of the isms.
Yeah.
Whether it's Islamophobia or anti-Semitism or anything else, even if
anything, racism, sexism, transphobia, anything. And the moment that you speak out, you get accused of obviously being either phobic or, ist of something or ism of something. So yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the time it isn't any of those things at all. It's just what they've decided that it is. So
in many cases, Sonia, these individuals have not expressed any hatred or anything. They're making comments through their own art. In my case, I was a journalist. I was a cartoonist, which is a form of journalism. I was making a journalistic comment, but that wasn't allowed, So can we leave Rosie to the second? The first item I want to bring up
is that the Turner Prize.
The 1st of December, the Turner Prize, It's right, it's not a huge amount of money, £25,000, but whoever wins it gets a huge amount of publicity, and people have gone on to make their careers out of the Turner Prize. Yeah. So we're talking about people like Anthony Gormley, Damien Hirst, you've probably all heard of, with his stuffed animals in formaldehyde. You might think this is all a bit weird, but Rachel Whitehead, sculptor. So these people all got their start with the Turner Prize and went on. That's how they made their career as artists. So the Turner Prize was a very edgy, forward-thinking, for contemporary artists. And it was something for young people coming through colleges to aspire to. They'd see people like Damien Hirst, who was very out there and outrageous, winning the Turner Prize. Oh, that's inspiration for them, So yeah, Turner Prize started off with very good intentions. And then it's sort of gone more and more woke as the years have gone on. And this year, instead of awarding it to artists, they invited basically activist groups to enter. And there was a whole bunch of activist groups. And I'm going to read out their names: Black Obsidian Sound System, Gentle Radical, Project Artsworks, and the ones that won are called Array Collective. Now, this is all very well. They are not artists producing art.
No.
They are groups of people producing posters and slogans and
that
kind of activism.
Yeah.
Which, might be all very worthy, but to give them an arts prize, one of the most prominent religious art prizes we've had in this country, which, so you can just imagine how young artists looking at that are going to think. They're going to think, well, what's the point? What's the point? I'm going to have to be a sort of social justice warrior in order to get anywhere in the art world these days.
It's awful. It's horrendous. What a horror story.
You might have no interest in art galleries at all, and you might have no interest in who wins the Turner Prize, but you have to think of the influence it has on young artists coming up, and how they will be self-censoring to make sure they fit in with this, this cancel culture. And the end result of all this is to destroy freedom of thought, to destroy freedom of expression.
Yeah.
So that just like in Nazi Germany, a dictatorship can step into the void that has been created.
Yeah.
And young people will no longer have that freedom of thought and be able to create things for themselves that just don't conform to what whoever is in charge wants.
Yeah, let me read you some comments. Angie says, art is what is keeping me sane. I agree, Angie. Ricky says, keep up the good work, Stella. Ray says, creativity generally is being suppressed. Dee says, well said, Stella, spot on. Human Creative says they're always trying to dumb down the citizens. Sissy, thanks for pointing that out, Stella. And Loz says, trying to suppress any free speech, discussion, debate, or questioning. And I mean, that is exactly what you're saying, really. This is about suppressing us again, isn't it?
It is, but it's very insidious because it's affecting all the young people who are coming through our schools, colleges, and universities. So the other item obviously is Rosie Kay.
Yeah.
Now, both of these are in the news, by the way. You can look them up. Me and Sonia are not the first people to talk about them. Spiked Online did a good account of the Turner Prize, and the Rosie Kay put out her own statement, which has been on social media, and other people have been speaking about it. Janice Turner did a piece on it in the Times, so people can look this up and read it for themselves. I don't know if you've got links I sent you to these articles, Sonia, which you could maybe put up.
I have. Yes, I will. I'll put it next to your name. Absolutely. So
Rosie Kay started this dance company, I think, in the Birmingham area. So she built it up herself. She's an young entrepreneur. She had a good reputation, and she's only 45. And according to the Times article, the next ballet was going to be based on Virginia Woolf's play called Orlando,
right?
Which is about a male aristocrat who kind of changes into a woman. I don't really even know the story. I believe there was a film made about it years ago.
Right.
And so she was at a party with some of the dancers in the troupe, a private party at her home, talking about it. And of course, one of them was a social justice warrior who took against this whole idea that she was being critical. It's a Virginia Woolf play, for God's sake, a famous play. People have made films about it in the past. So anyway, they took against this because these youngsters, I'm not being funny, but early 20s, it's almost like they don't know any history. It's
no,
almost
exactly.
Like they don't know the background of their own field that they're in themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So apparently this person went to the people on the board of her company and started complaining about it. And she's had months of investigation. She was apparently had her email address locked, didn't have access to the bank account of her own company, and it's gone on for months. And that's why she feels that she's been handed out. So it's easy to say, oh, she's made a choice and it's not really cancel culture.
Yeah.
But she said, it is with a broken heart and utter devastation that I've had to resign from the company I founded in 2004, the company I built from scratch and which bears my name, the Rosie Kay Dance Company. I've been left in a position where I have no alternative to do so. The Board of Trustees has betrayed my confidence, my trust, and failed in their duty to protect the purpose of the charity. And so she's had
cowards.
She's had no choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what, yeah, so people can say, oh, yeah, then people are making individual choices to resign, or no, they're being forced out.
Yes,
they're being forced out.
They absolutely are. Stella, before you go, everybody, Stella's book, 2020, the year we were all cancelled.
We can't hold it up.
Check it out. Absolutely plug it. Absolutely plug it. Highly recommended. Stella's cartoons are hilarious. Stella, thank you for joining us.
Just going to plug it. It's poking fun at the COVID restrictions, and it's poking fun at all these things we talk about.
Absolutely. Stella Perra, everybody. At least she has guts, courage of your convictions, which we love, Stella. Thank you so much. As you said, the whole thing, being cancelled turned you into an activist, and I get that. So listen, take good care of yourself. See you soon, Stella.
Bye, everybody.
Happy Christmas.
And you.